Christoph Frei now, who is an Associate Professor of Political Science at St Gallen University with special focus on international affairs. He joins us live from St Gallen in Switzerland. Thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour. If National Rally win big, and I say if, it means Macron won't have the power to pass laws. Now, how effective can his presidency then be?
Good afternoon. He basically would have to maintain his position in terms of foreign policies, in terms of defense, where the presidency, by dint of the constitution, still has room for maneuvering. However, you know, in many other ways, and even in foreign policies, you need money to do things. And obviously, if cohabitation comes, if he has to deal with, let's say, a prime minister from the National Rally, it would greatly reduce his slack. It would greatly reduce his space of maneuvering.
Now, looking at Jordan Bardella, the leader of National Rally, if he ended up as prime minister, can a 28-year-old effectively run a country as big as France? After all, we're talking about the second biggest economy in Europe. This would be a massive promotion.
Absolutely. First of all, Jordan Bardella would not quite be on his own. We must not forget that he's basically a mentee of Marine Le Pen. So in terms of substance and in terms of policy making, we would not really, look at a 20-year-old man making the shots or calling the shots. We would basically have someone who is entirely devoted and entirely loyal to Marine Le Pen and her team. That's one thing. On the other hand, I think we should not underestimate the, let's say the personal side of politics, or the human side of politics. And there, it's difficult to predict how well Prime Minister Jordan Bardella would actually do, because if we look at the past 2-3 years, he has been able to get himself quite popular, not least among the young ones.
Indeed. And of course, a third of voters have decided to vote for National Rally, or RN as it's known. What does this tell us about the mood in France right now? And let's remember, Macron was the bright young prospect once upon a time. What has gone wrong?
Oh, many things have gone wrong. But, I think, first of all, we need to be fair to what Macron has actually done in terms of policies. He has, in so many ways, done what needed to be done, looking at, in a very state-centered tradition. So Macron, not everything he did was wrong. But to come back to your question, why or where did he go wrong? In so many ways, it really was about communication, building bridges to the taxpayers, being able to connect. And that, of course, is not something that is entirely new with Emmanuel Macron. This lack of connectivity, the lack of being able to communicate effectively with his constituency. It's been there before. This is the technocratic political system where with a remarkable degree of centralization. So a lot of it really has to do with how he is perceived rather than with what he has actually done. And even with what he has done, in so many ways, many French, too many French, 60% of the French actually feel that what he did was not enough, and that he actually never quite would live up to his old promises of finding new ways to communicate. This is something where he simply could not deliver upon.
And just finally, how important will the role be for the far left if they have to step in now? They've also polled strongly, but to counter any far-right policies which they feel go too far.
Absolutely. But here we must not forget that the policies in general and economic policies that the new Popular Front is suggesting, in terms of feasibility, how doable is it all? And what we see from the far left, unsubmissive France, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, these propositions are reckless, or even more reckless than what is proposed from the right side. So it will remain. We have to wait and see how strong the national rally will actually be after the second round, and we'll have to wait and see how strong of a veto position the left wing will maintain after next Sunday.
OK, Christoph Frei joining us from Switzerland. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.